the
look,
population.
as much as Trump is a flipping arse wipe, like he's actually doing bits. Like everyone is doing bits. I saw a video in the Congo of a flipping policeman chasing a civilian, trying to get him back into his house.
I saw that in the
That's the
DR.
kind of energy we need.
I saw the DR chasing. I saw like there's a video of the DR chasing man across the road.
Bro,
that's crazy.
And then one of my boys is from Philippines. One of the guys I work out from the Philippines, isn't he? And he sent me a video. I don't know if you lot saw what the Philippines. I presume it's the president, and then or the prime minister, whatever they call it. And then he was like, "I promise to God, don't tweet about it." He was like, "If you're out, you're gonna get shot." So it's either we kill you, the corona kills you, or you sit at home. Those are your three options.
Yeah.
No whatever like is that if you're out, we're presuming you're up to no good. So we're gonna shoot first and ask questions later.
What's going on, world? Welcome to episode 27 of the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast with Peter.
Salutations.
Oh, I'm tired, man.
Mohammed.
I'm tired, man. Isolation got my bugging already, bro. Isolation. What's going on?
And myself, yeah, me.
Oh, yeah.
How we doing, guys?
This guy, bro, saying salutations like he's fucking. What's the guy from Wire? What's the guy from Wire? What's the guy from Wire for Kids? Tony, fam. Who? Like you're Tony, cuz.
Nah,
yeah, fam. That's how we would say hello, innit?
Oh, you're right. Well,
listen, man, it's been a while, man. I thought I'd switch it up.
It has been. How we doing, guys?
Oh, good, man.
We're here, man.
We are here.
Man.
We are. We've all the time.
All the time.
God is good.
Bang, bang. Yeah, man. We are here. Obviously, we have no access to a studio, so we are recording through our homes, and we've managed to get it done after time and time of trying to find ways to get it done. So, we find ourselves in the midst of self-isolation and quarantine thanks to the lovely coronavirus. How you, man, coping?
I'm good, man. Just working on myself, generally just...
How you been working on yourself?
Yeah, man.
I'm losing weight, fam. I've got a house to wear it, fam. Mohammed is jogging. Mohammed is walking. I'm eating right. I'm juicing. Hey, fam. I'm doing good in these streets.
Love to hear it.
The no seeing people is going to drive me crazy. But, like...
You better get used to it.
That's what I'm saying. What can I do, fam? It is what it is, isn't it? What about you?
Yeah, what about you?
I'm here, man. Just spending time with myself. Really, that's all I can do. Just trying to remain positive, remain optimistic. Obviously, it's not ideal. This virus is a huge inconvenience. But you just got to try and look at the positive side of it, man. It's unfortunate that people are losing their lives, but I just hope that things do calm down sooner rather than later. But yeah, man, just here, just trying to remain upbeat.
100%.
You?
Yeah, man. Pretty much the same. Just here. Wait, someone laughing?
Yeah, because I was wondering if someone's going to ask.
Now, look, I'm trying to set you man up to ask, innit? So, I'm good, man. I'm just here. I've done a massive purge in my room, so everything's nice and clean and empty. I realized I'm a big hoarder. I was hoarding stuff and documents from when I was in secondary school. Yeah. So, I just had to get rid of that real quick.
But, like what?
Like school books, flipping, mainly school books, really. And like revision notes and
from school,
all that kind of stuff. From school.
I still got a key stage book with the guy with the hat, fam.
I didn't have any of that. It was more so like actual exercise books rather than revision books. But we're moving and getting used to the idea of being in isolation because, like I said, we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, man. Yeah, some good things have come from it.
Like what?
The Instagram battles.
Oh yes, the beat battles.
I love it. It's not even beat battles anymore, man. It's actually evolved. At the start, it was for like Tim and Swiss was a beat battle. Then Hit where Wonder was, but then and then it went to songwriting, so like The Dream and Sean Garrett.
Yeah,
and that was dope, man. And then Scott Storch and Manny Fresh Up went against each other, which made no sense to me. It was a ridiculous matchup. It was stupid, bro. Like that's an ugly matchup. Like Manny Fresh has got underground hits, like hood hits with like Juvenile, them boys, Hot Boys, them man there. Why are you gonna put him?
No, Mohammed. Show some.
Tell me four worldwide songs Manny Fresh has got.
Back that ass.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's hood famous.
That's not hood.
No, back that ass up is an anthem.
It's a hood anthem.
Bro, that's more than a hood anthem.
Find me 5 white people that know Back the Arse Up.
We're not putting it on the same level as like a Juicy or like a Cream.
No, my thing is...
Of course not, man.
I believe it's an anthem. I agree with you guys. I'm just saying, okay, you've got Back the Arse Up.
I mean, I don't know anything about Manny Fresh, so...
Like, he's got... Think of all the early Lil Wayne productions, like the Carters, the early Carters, and all of that. He done that, all the Juvenile songs, anything Birdman related, he produced that. And a couple of T.I. songs. But my thing is, you need another South... If it was up to me, another South producer. Do you know what I mean? Don't give him a Scott Storch. Like, it doesn't fit. Scott Storch has got...
It's unfair.
It's unfair,
bro. This guy pulled out Drake, Still Dre, Baby Boy, Beyonce. What else did he drop? And then what else did he drop? He dropped like Still Dre, Lean Back, Baby Boy, but like it's unfair. Yeah, I mean, you was very active on Skepta versus J5.
I was. I used the podcast Instagram to get a front row seat to the battle, and I had fun, man. I was trolling. I was very much trolling.
Any feedback on how it went?
Very fun. Skepta. I'm not gonna say he washed J5, but J5 weren't ready. J5 isn't seasoned in war. He doesn't really have those kind of tunes. And he was mollywopped, to say the least.
Sounds so rude.
Listen, man. Look, he sees the funny side of it. People were calling him J4. He then went on Twitter and changed his handle to J4.
I like that.
He sees the funny side of it. He knows he got washed. Boy. So it's all good. It was a good battle, man.
You enjoyed it, yeah?
It was very, very enjoyable. I will say that. Let's get into the show that we wanted to do before coronavirus came into the equation. And we wanted to do a deep dive, the deepest of dives, into why is that a whoa?
Yo, Mo is childish, man.
Sorry, I mean, ignore me.
Why is that a whoa?
I don't know.
Yo, Mohammed is childish.
No, it's because you said that we're gonna deep dive, and then you went the deepest of dives. I don't think it just sounds.
Is this not the deepest of dives?
Yo, come on, man. Oh, Jay,
because you're not good with your words doesn't mean everybody else has to.
Because if you went, we're good. We went. Because if you followed that up with this, if you went, we're gonna have a deep dive. The deepest of dives on Jay Electronica. It sounds wild.
I was gonna build it up a little bit more. Thank you.
Because if you followed that straight up with Jay Electronica, come on, man.
Oh, Mohammed, man.
Whoa, Cecily's.
Get it all out, guys.
I thought this was going to be included in the recording.
No, it is.
All right, cool. I'm gonna say this right. Come on, now. Get it all out.
This is
great material, fam. Whoa, Cecily.
What's wrong with this guy, man?
I want you to get it all out before I continue.
No, I'm back.
Are you sure?
I'm back.
Good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to get into a deep dive on one of our favorite topics of the podcast, and it's relating to an event in hip hop, which has been 10 years in the making. It's been one of the most anticipated happenings of the past decade in hip hop. We're talking about the one and only Jay Electronica and the release of his debut album, A Written Testimony. Now, obviously, this album has come amidst a lot of anticipation, a lot of speculation as to how it would sound, what it would be like, just what it would be generally. So before we get into the actual album, I kind of want to get into what you guys going into the album were kind of expecting. Because obviously he announced 40 days before the album release that he was going to release it in 40 days. And that stoked a lot of excitement in the timeline. So from the announcement to the day of the drop, what were you guys individually expecting from the album and from Mr. Jay Electronica?
So essentially, when he first announced it, I think I screenshot and I sent it to the group, and then I got told fuck off. I just want to put it out there. No, listen, because I'm sick and tired of things like that. Because I remember he said 40 days, whatever, 40 days, 40 nights or some shit like that. And I screenshot and I sent it to the group, and so I'm like, yo, I believe him. I don't know why. I just thought this was a bit different. I don't know if you don't remember. I was like, yo, I actually got a feeling that, yo, it's true. I vividly remember 2 human beings telling me, go away.
I think it was both me
and
him.
I said 2 human beings. One called him a bum. Yeah. I don't know who called him a bum. But I'm snitching. Someone called him a bum and said, get that bum out of here.
That was Yemi.
No. I'm going to address that. Don't you worry.
Someone said, get that bum out of here. And then the other person said, yeah, Yemi, get that bum out of here, fam. So don't act like you didn't agree. So That's the first day when he
He
announced.
definitely agreed.
Yeah, that was the first day. So essentially, I don't know why I thought this was a bit different from the get go. I just was like, yo, it just feels different. I feel like he knows that it's been too long, and then maybe he kind of knew that because core hip hop fans always believed in Jay Electronica. If you get what I mean, they always knew who Jay Elec was.
Believed in him in what sense?
We knew what talent he was, and we all knew it was only a matter of time before the album came. But I felt like it was getting to the point where, and I felt like it passed the point where it got to the point where hip hop heads were even like, you know what, if you've got an album, keep it. Like it was getting to that kind of energy now. And I feel like the shift happened, I only think it will happen recently, like over the last year or two, where it was like, you know, if you've got an album, fuck it, we don't even want to hear it anymore. Like, keep it. Like, someone are calling in bums and stuff. So I felt like he knew this. So he knew, all right, you know what? It's now or never type thing. Like, if I don't drop it now, even the people that should care won't care. And I feel like
you really think that's what it was?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I'm not saying it's the whole thing. I'm just saying because it definitely got to the point where even the core hip hop fans were like, yo, if you've got an album, keep it, we don't care. But I also felt like he's arrogant, so it's just like he felt like, you know what, you lot deserve it now. Like he's got an air of arrogance where he's like, you lot deserve this album now, type thing.
I disagree with you, bro. I don't think it was either of those things. I don't think he thought to himself, "Oh my god!"
I don't think he thought that.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he thought that to a full extent, but I feel like he definitely knew that it was a thing where, because even if you look at the way he reacted afterwards, like the way he's you don't see Jay Electronica emotional about his art, and then afterwards you see him emotional. So I feel like he definitely cared to a certain extent.
I mean, we don't hear from him. We never heard from him.
You're right. The last project was what, 2008, 2009, 2007?
2007.
What, the Act 1?
Yes, the Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah, he took the piss. Yeah, so I just felt like anyway, my thing was so when I was waiting for his album, I genuinely felt like I was gonna get 11 to 12 songs, and I'm gonna get into this later when we review the album. I thought I was gonna get 11 to 12 songs of just Jay Electronica. Originally, I thought it was gonna be on some J. Cole no features type shit. That was my original thought. I'd be like,
why did you think that?
Because I felt like
he owed it to us.
One, he owed it to us. Two, when Jay Electronica done songs over the past few years, and I'm talking about his singles, he doesn't feature anybody, whether it's Road to Partition, whether it's other tracks. He doesn't usually, is no one else on the track with him. So I felt like, and also, you know yourself, if we've waited 13 years, kind of, I felt like you would have a sense of, you will know yourself to where it's like, all right, you know what, let me just give an album where it's just me. Or even if you do have features, one or two.
If he had released the album after Exhibit C, would you have been open to him,
of course,
having as many features 100%. As he did?
I would have had no complaints if he done that. If it was straight after Exhibit C or even 4 years, man, if he even dropped this album in 2015, I would have been all right with him dropping, because I now feel differently than how I felt when the album first came out.
Same.
Because when the album first came out, I felt away. But we'll talk about when we're reviewing the album. But that was just originally what I was just expecting. I was expecting this album to be just him alone, or like one or two songs with a feature, nothing OD, and then him barring out. That's what and I don't know if it's because of the pressure I had on it, but I thought it was going to be a very good to a classic album. That's the expectation I had. Because you don't know how I feel about Jay Electronica. I've never hid it. I've always felt Jay Electronica's, even before the album, I was like, Jay Electronica's one album away from me saying he's one of the nicest ever. I've always put him on. I don't think I've always put him on that pedestal. I remember us doing an episode before, and I said it. I think I even said it on one of the episodes, like, Jay Electronica is honestly one album away from me saying he's one of the nicest that I've ever heard. So, like, maybe the level I had him at was different to other people, which is why I expected so much.
I didn't have any
expectation,
bro. No, I just expected a good album. I think because of the level of in which he raps at, I just thought I would get a good album. I weren't expecting a classic. I didn't have all these like lofty expectations, I don't think. If I'm gonna be real with you, when you put the link in the group chat, I didn't give a monkeys. I didn't think it was coming. I'm gonna be real with you, because for me personally, I've been a fan since before Act 1. He dropped a mixtape called What the Fuck is Jay Electronica? And so I was a fan quite early. So I'd been waiting for a while. So when it got to like maybe about 5-6 years and he was still kind of toying with the idea of dropping an album, I kind of was okay with him not dropping it. So I didn't think it would come. So when you dropped the link in the group chat, I didn't flinch, and I called him a bum, or I agreed with the premise that he's a bum because we've been waiting for so long.
I'm kind of on Peter's boat, really. When Mohammed sent the post to the group chat, yes, I did call him a bum, and I had continued to call him a bum. A part of me.
This guy's doubling down, bro.
Listen. Look, I'm getting to it. So when it was announced, I didn't really believe it because obviously it's been 11 years. Really, we've been waiting 13 years even for a proper Jay Elect project. So a part of me was a bit like, I don't believe this guy. I'll see what happens when it drops. So I didn't really have many expectations about it. I knew that if we were going to get 11 to 12 tracks of Jay Electronica, I would enjoy it in some way, shape, or form. But I wasn't expecting. I suppose I was expecting, in a sense, to be blown away because he's always managed to blow me away with whatever music he's made. So in a sense, there was that expectation. Like when it became more and more real, maybe in the last week before it dropped. So yeah, initially I didn't really believe it, but then as it came closer to the actual drop date, it was becoming more and more of a thing for me. So yeah, I think out of all of us, Mo had the most expectation and anticipation.
Yeah, I believe that.
Do you think that the impact of Exhibit C affected how much we anticipated this album, number one?
I'm going to stop you there. Yes. 100%. Exhibit C is his magnum opus, no matter where you look at it. I think he could release music every year for the next 10 years and people will still go back to Exhibit C.
Yeah, I agree. But that wasn't that wasn't the only reason I was looking forward to it, though.
Well, I mean, a part of it, I suppose maybe subconsciously for me, the fact that Exhibit C is a classic song, of course, it increases expectation in that sense because you want him to reach those levels every time.
I agree. I get what you mean.
So in a sense, yeah. Has it hindered him? Well, maybe. It could be argued. But definitely, the weight of Exhibit C was definitely on this album. It had to have been. Because that was his, first, well, maybe not his first, but a major statement from him was that song. So it had to have been weighing up, especially when between then and the album dropping, he's probably dropped like a handful of songs.
Yeah, but it's also the level of the handful of songs. Like, Road to Perdition is a fucking amazing record. Do you get what I mean? Like, it is. I can't put into context how much I fuck with that song. Like, I've listened to that for a while. So you've got that, and then you've also got his verses, like the Control verse. He didn't miss a few times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's dropped numerous records that were just flawless, like Exhibit A. He dropped a song called Jazzmatazz, which was a Guru tribute. He's done numerous songs. He had a song where it was an ode to Nas, called My World. He's dropped records throughout the years that have just been more of an insight as to his abilities. So that probably didn't help the anticipation either.
No, 100%. I mean, that's probably why he waited so long to drop it. Like, he even says in the album, but we'll get to that later, like, there was pressure. And in one way or another, maybe he wasn't able to really, address it or bring himself to drop an album just yet. So, I guess it was all time.
I've got a question for you, lot.
Do we know, hold on, Mo, before you ask that question, do we know why it was delayed?
I have no idea. I mean, has he given an official reason?
No.
I think, he sprinkled it throughout the album, but I think there might have been some label issues though, because obviously he signed to Rock Nation, and there was rumblings throughout the years that there was a struggle as far as establishing what the single was going to be. So I think that might have been a small factor. But in listening to the album and just seeing how much Jay was on it, yes, Jay is a businessman as well, but maybe it was more Jay Electronica himself rather than the need for a single. But I did hear that there was an issue with the single. I did hear that he had a record with Chris
That just
Brown,
wouldn't sound right, though, would
that
it?
wasn't released. Yeah, I did hear that there is a record with Chris Brown that just wasn't
I don't
released.
think it would sound right, though.
To be honest, to address the label side of it, I don't know what you expect from someone like Jay Electronica, who clearly is not that way inclined when it comes to his music. what kind of a single are you expecting from a guy like that?
I mean, but it was similar to the whole J. Cole thing, though. Like, J. Cole was signed for how long before we got the first album? He's not that type of artist either, but there was still that need for it. There was still need for that one record that could springboard and I guess attract.
I think it's still night and day to J. Cole, though. I think it's night and day. J. Cole's cadence, J. Cole, what he rhymes about. J. Cole you could always see J. Cole crossing over. From even Friday.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that. See J. Cole not becoming what he is now, but you can still see J. Cole becoming a Big Sean level artist. Jay Electronica, there's nothing about him that screams crossing over to me. So there's no need for
J. Cole wasn't sampling Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He wasn't talking about what he was talking about in his MC. So in that respect, he's there's a difference there, I think.
I think it's night and day.
But it's also the era where labels do need a single from someone. But seeing as it's Rock Nation and it's Jay-Z, I would have thought that Jay-Z, and it's the same thing with Cole, I guess. I would have thought that Jay-Z would have been a little more lenient when it comes to Jay Elec, because he's not that type of guy.
I mean, but it seems like he became that because he became more lenient because the album came out.
I mean, yeah, flipping 10 years later, bro.
Yeah, no, there is no single. And that actually leads into my next question as well for you boys. Like, do you think this will maybe impact the way other execs look at the way albums are rolled out and other artists as well? Because there isn't a single on this album. So do you think maybe this now will make or convince executives that, you know what, you may not even need a single anymore?
I think that's been the case for a while.
Okay.
I think there's been a few artists for a debut album. I feel like it's different, but I feel like because Jay Electronica has been around for so long, it's looked at different. But I feel like we're in a time now where artists don't look for, like, J. Cole's last 4 albums. I don't think he dropped the last 3 albums. He didn't drop a single. He tweeted. I get what you're saying. It's a different level when you're that kind of. Are you talking about as a debut album? Or you just about album period?
Just as an artist, I think I might be answering my own question. I think it depends on the type of artist that you are. With someone like J. Cole, he's got himself into a position where, like, he doesn't necessarily need that. But for an artist like, for artists like the Migos, for example, or a Travis Scott or an Uzi. Actually, not Uzi.
Uzi doesn't need a single. Uzi's got a ridiculous following.
But here's the thing: even if he doesn't have an out-and-out single, there will be songs on his projects that will essentially serve as singles to his fans, and as far as streaming goes as well. So there'll be other songs that are pushed more than others, depending on how they are reacted to. I think it does depend on the artist. I think we live in a time now. We forget that Swimming Pools was the first single, the major single from Good Kid, Mad City. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily call that like a radio single, but we live in a time now where that isn't necessary. That's depending on the stature of the artist. With someone like Jay Elec, like, nah, you're not gonna look. And those artists inclined, unless they want to.
Yeah,
I don't think there will be as much pressure from especially like rapper-led labels as well, like Rock Nation and like Young Money, for instance. I don't think there's going to be as much pressure from the boss who's a rapper on other rappers to have a pop single necessarily.
Right. No, but I get what you mean. I think it just comes down to. I think it's the artist. It just comes down to who the artist is and the following they already have, I guess. Because if you not have,
and maybe your status in the game. If it's the first album, then and you haven't got much of a following, then you might.
Whereas Jay Electronica's been in the game, even though it's his debut album, he's been in the game for 15 years. So like he doesn't need. It's not a necessity. Whereas if you're a new artist and you've only been around for say 2 or 3 years, you're gonna need a hit. And then there's some artists that we don't care about their albums. Like Amigos, you're not looking at Amigos for their album. You're looking at Amigos for their singles. Whereas that's why they're always going to have a single, because they make hits. They don't make albums, if you get what I mean. So they're always they're always going to release singles. That's just how they're programmed.
Yeah, they wrap projects around singles, whereas artists like Jay Elec just drop projects.
Exactly.
Let's get to the album. So 10 tracks. Jay-Z has played a very, very big role in this album. Namely, the fact that he's on like 8 of the 10 tracks. Production on like half of the album, or more than half, is Jay Elec himself. We've also got features from Travis Scott and The Dream and Shiny Suit Theory, which he released way back in 2010. Is on the album. Is on the album as well. So yeah, I mean, sonically, it's all produced by Jay Elec. me personally, I feel like a lot of it sounds like it's from 2010.
You're disrespectful.
But that's not a bad thing necessarily.
That's
not a bad thing necessarily. That's not a bad thing necessarily. I just think 2010 was a good year for him. But it doesn't take anything away from the album. But it's here, 10 tracks. Gentlemen, what do we think?
Nah. I'll let one of you man rock on first. I'm itching, but I'll let one of you man go first.
Pete, it's you.
Yeah. Pete, I definitely want to hear. Yeah, because I want to hear from you two first, actually. Because you two are bastards.
Before anyone does anything, yeah, I want to take you man back to when the album dropped. That morning.
Oh yeah, me and Pete had a moment.
So the madness probably started around like 8 or 1
a.m. 7:30.
You know, certain people, you know, I won't mention their names, but not me. The other two people in this chat were excited, to say the least, about this drop, and were, you know, very much on their high horse about it, to the extent where, you know, a lot of things were said about people being the greatest rappers ever, and, you know.
Who said that?
I'm pretty sure one of you man said something, man.
Yeah, we said Jay's the best rapper ever.
My mouth, man. Oh, Jay-Z. Yeah,
not Jay, Jay-Z. I felt like the energy from that chat made me feel as if you guys wanted to throw your phones at the wall and watch them break multiple times over. You know, obviously you haven't done that, but yeah, I'm just trying to set the tone. There was a lot of hype. Even Saeed, shout out Saeed, got involved in the chat, and he never gets involved in the chat.
I've also got receipts of what both of you said, by the way. Seeing as we're talking about what people said, I have a public apology from someone in this group.
Yeah. Look, we're gonna get.
I'm just saying, I have a public apology.
We're gonna get to that.
This is getting released with this episode, by the way. We're putting these screenshots on the Instagram story.
No, you're not.
It's only right.
What's the point? What do you mean it's not only right? It's wrong. It's only.
It's right that they see our hype on the chat, and it's right they see the apology.
Oh, you want to see the whole context?
Someone said he did it. He did.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of time has passed between the day of the drop and now. So, you know. Anyway, Peter, what were your thoughts?
Oh man, I think the first thing I noticed was the fact that Just Blaze did not produce not one song on this album,
not even a little.
And I was extremely 100%. Disappointed. By the fact that he wasn't on it. I think, considering that he's given him arguably his best song and his biggest song, you would have at least have wanted a couple of tracks from Just on the album. So that was the first thing I noticed, and I was bothered by that. But overall, I think it's tough, innit? Because I remember when it was released, I was extremely gassed. I was very excited. And when I listened to it, I was very, very satisfied with what I heard. I was very happy. I was like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. But that's the problem with reacting to albums as soon as they've been released. And I think this comes into the problem that I have with people, not necessarily referring it to this album, but just generally using the words like classic. Because after the dust has settled and you've gotten over the initial reaction and you've sat with the album, that initial feeling of being excited might not be there no more. So sometimes you've got to take time. So obviously after I had time to sit with the album and stuff, I started really just thinking about, you know, what I'm listening to. What is he saying to me? What is he trying to convey, even with his production? And if I'm going to judge the album just as music, without the anticipation, the expectation, without the fact that, you know, I wanted maybe more of a solo album, it's a good album. It's a very good album. But that was my initial reaction. It was a fucking good album. You know, aside from the expectation of all of that, I just really enjoyed what I heard. But there's other factors that come into it after you've established that it's a good album. You then start thinking about how many songs Jay-Z appears on. You then start thinking about the fact that he was very cheeky for including the shiny suit theory. And it's things like that that can maybe bring down how you experience the album. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to get to that. That was my initial reaction.
Fair dues. I think my initial reaction was that he had did it. I think after once I'd taken my time to listen to it initially because obviously you man were hyping and that. So
Yeah.
I listened to it on the way to work, and I found myself bobbing my head to pretty much everything. I think even after it stopped, I think one of my first things to say to you, man, was that there's too much Jay-Z. If I was nitpicking, because at the time I thought it was a very incredible piece of work just for music, initially, even if there was a little bit too much Jay-Z. The Shiny Suit Theory didn't bother me so much. It was a bit like, why is he doing that? But it didn't bother me too much as it relates to the context of the album. I guess he felt like he needed to put it in there, and it very much sounds like the rest of the album anyway, so it kind of makes sense. But initially, yeah, I could say I was blown away. I guess it was
Wow.
I guess it was the occasion. I guess it was the momentum of who it was and what I was listening to. It was brand new Jay Elect music. It was a brand new project and stuff. The fact that he had production from The Alchemist, from No ID, from Swizz Beatz, and Hit Boy, and Khruangbin as well. Like, there's a whole wide, vast tapestry of production there as well. So I guess overall, I can say I was very much caught up in the hype, and I did issue a public apology to him for calling him a bum.
We don't accept your apology, by the way. We don't accept your apology.
I mean, you're not Jay Elec.
I stand on behalf of the Jay Electronica fan club.
Yeah, I bet you would. So yeah, I think on initial listen, I was blown away. I think as I got into it a little bit more and sat with it, the reservations crept in. Too much Jay-Z. And to be honest, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I think this album, as much as I enjoy it as a piece of music, it's a cop-out. It's a cop-out from Jay Electronica to essentially have Jay-Z on every track. It's a cop-out because that suggests to me that you weren't trying to drop an album without this man all over.
You think it's a crutch?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got to disagree with you there. I know that he has recorded another album. There was an album that he'd done with all Just Space production and many different features that I believe was supposed to be his first album. So I think the album that he ended up releasing, I don't think it was supposed to be the first one.
So yeah, it was supposed to be was it Act 2?
Act 2,
something like that.
Yeah. He recorded another album.
Hey man, look, I can only judge it based on what's out there. I think and maybe I'm too much of a romantic, but if I'm Jay Electronica, knowing that I haven't dropped a first album, I haven't dropped a first project, a debut album, if I'm not gonna drop an album, what is essentially a collaborative album. He doesn't even start the flipping album. That's not even that much of a problem for me, but it's a signal of intent. Like, if you've got this guy, and look, taking nothing away from Jay-Z, it was an incredible performance, but bro, even if you take Jay-Z's vocals away from this album, it's less interesting.
Oof.
I think.
I mean, I get it.
100%.
So with me, I'll be honest with you, when he dropped that album, I vividly remember me waking up and I think Peter wrote 14 messages. It was something stupid, bro.
It wasn't 14, mate. It was more.
Yeah, it was something stupid. And then I normally wake up about 7:30, 7:45 for work. So,
you definitely wake up about 7:30.
I said I normally do. Can I talk? Jesus Christ, guys. But however, this day I was starting early, so I woke up about 8:45. I woke up to an abundance of messages.
Abundance.
Peter was talking, so I'm like, cool. And then with me, I don't like listening to music on a travel, like if I'm on a train or something, just because I won't hear it. So I decided to get an Uber. So I got Uber to work to listen to the Jay Electronica and listen to it properly. And I still remember the first bar I heard was like, if it come from me and Hov, consider it Quran. If it come from any of those, consider it haram. And then I remember saying, okay, so this is how he wants to start the album. This guy's a bastard. I remember me saying that. I said, yeah. So this is how you want to start. And then the word after that was so crafted, so beautifully, considering that I've done. That might go over some people said, what I've done basically means is the call to prayer in Islam. So he's like, his bars are created so beautifully, like, consider that done. So then those are the first 4 bars. Like, first 4 bars of the album. So off the top, I'm like, yeah, this guy's gone clear. I was like, this guy. And not honestly, I remember I was like, this guy, he's left Earth. The first 4 bars are ridiculous, and then even after that, it was like Nation, whatever. So then I was like, yep, cool, I've got it. Like all that I wanted, I've got it. And then I remember the second track, I heard Jay again. I'm like, okay. Then the third, I heard Jay again. I'm like, you're taking a piss now. Then I heard Shiny Suits for you. I was like, I don't want to hear that. So I skipped it. And then I heard Jay, and then it got to the point where I'm like, because I was so in the moment, I'm like, you know what, I could live with Jay-Z on the album. Because I just care about the album being here, if you get what I mean. I can live with Jay-Z being there. It is what it is. Yeah. I'll deal with it another day. But then it got to the point where I'm like, Jay-Z really done you dirty. I'm like, yo, Jay-Z really mollywopped you on your own album. And like, let's not even get it twisted. Like, it was badly as well. Like it wasn't even close. And then if that was a Jay Electronica album by himself, Jay Electronica's left Earth on the bars. But you know when you get someone else that goes so far ahead of you, it's like, yo, you're coming hard, but you're like you're meant to be matching this guy if you want this guy on your album. So it's like the first week I was like, yeah, he gave me what I wanted. And then the good thing about us recording this now is you've got time to reflect on the album. If it was up to me, it's like I heard too much Jay-Z. I was like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I just want to hear you. Like, give me you. Like, I've waited 15 years, 14 years. Chill out. Because like, it's not even like the guy done you service. Like, he fucked you up. Like, he beat you up, bro. Like he jumped you. Like, he rushed out. You remember the scene when Chris Tucker gets kicked in his face? And he's like, which one of y'all did that? Like, he done you dirty, bro. Like, but then it's like, I've gone back to the album about 4 or 5 times because I feel like you can't digest this album for one listen. You can't digest this album for 2 listens.
There's a lot in there, man.
I still haven't digested this album.
Mainly from Jay-Z.
Yeah, but then it's like, I don't know how much Jay Electronica uses so many Islamic bars. I don't know if everyone's catching what he's saying.
I was going to ask you, Mo, though. How do you
this is what I was going to get into.
About
this is what I was going to get into. So I was going to get into this.
References stuff.
He's a blaspheming bastard. Like, takes it too far sometimes. There's no 2 ways about it. There's some bars where he says, like, I think he has, even in Exhibit C when he's like, yo, in Rod, where he's like, young Prophet Muhammad, like, yo, chill out, that's not you. Like, don't bring the Prophet into this. Like, chill out, don't bring Allah into this. But you kind of live with it because you know who Jay Electronica is. It's just a funny position for me to be like, to hear it, because then I'm like, I get it, you're a Muslim, but like, you take it too far. There's no way you're telling me, yo, me and Jay-Z are the Prophet Muhammad and someone else. Like, yo, you're not. And I don't know if it's me being a Muslim. Maybe it is. Most probably it is. Because, like, we're not used to that. That's not us. Like, it's people have been using Christianity bars for centuries, decades, whatever. Whereas no one does that in Islam. Like, everyone knows you kind of leave Islam alone when it comes to bars. Like, don't get me wrong. If you're going to use an Islamic bar, like, I've heard Bema say, MashaAllah, SubhanAllah, Inshallah. That's raggle. You don't go to a limit where you start saying, yo, I'm a Prophet Muhammad or I'm Allah. Like, that's not you. However, at the same time, the twist he puts on it is crazy. I can't even lie. Like,
I have a theory about that, though. I think maybe because it's like Nation of Islam, he's quite clearly of that. Maybe that allows for something more. Maybe that allows. And look, I don't fuck with Nation of Islam at all, so it's like
it's definitely that.
Maybe they.
It's definitely the nation, so I could get away with it factor.
Yeah. Like even the intro, like when Farrakhan was saying that the black American people are like the true children of Israel and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
I was just like,
but Farrakhan wasn't the first person.
That's
to
a theory.
That's been a known thing.
That's fine, but I just don't agree.
I get your point. Right. I just feel like, I'll be honest with you. So I was going to get into it, Pete. Anyway, I feel a way where not all of the Islamic bars. Don't get me wrong. There's some bars where I'm just like, it is what it is. But there's some bars he says it's a bit like chill out a little bit.
Yeah, because every Islamic reference that I heard, I thought about you, and I thought about how you're gonna take it.
Yeah, I get it, because it's not. I can't. If he's the bars, I'm not gonna lie. The way he words it, like this one way he goes, it sounded like a hadith or something like that. And then a hadith is basically, if the Prophet said something back in the day, and it's obviously it's been sent down from people still quoting today. It's called a hadith, and then he had a bar where he said something like that, and I'm like, yo, that's fucking mad. I'm like, yo, this guy's I feel like don't get me wrong, Jay-Z mollywopped him, but I feel like a lot of people feel like he mollywopped him extra because I feel like Jay Electronica's bars go over a lot of people's heads, and that's just.
Mo, were you more uncomfortable with his more direct references to himself being the prophet?
That's the only kind of thing I have, because even like Exhibit C when he goes a young and call me fuck that, call me Subhana what, that's even like like chill out, like that's. I'm not calling you the prophet. I'm not calling you Allah. I'm not doing that. Don't get me wrong. And I know the black man is God and all that. He believes that. But I'm never going to call you the prophet. Chill out just a little bit. I think everyone knows how Muslims are with that, if you get what I mean. That's not something. We don't even draw pictures of the prophet. So, like, he's probably, don't get me wrong. Some bars it's been uneasy. But at the same time, there's some bars, even when he's like, here, consider it haram, consider the Quran. You can't deny that it's bars.
But Mo, just for argument's sake, could you say that it's all metaphoric?
You can.
Maybe he's not calling it. It's just like, it's like Jay-Z gave himself the name Hova. We all know that he's not God, but it's metaphoric for his position in the rap game. Could you argue that JLX doing the exact same thing except using his face?
It's new territory.
You can, but it's also, I know what is written. You can't even do that metaphorically in Islam. You can't even. That's not something you can even kind of joke about with.
But then you could also argue that the Nation of Islam isn't orthodox.
I get why he does it, because he believes everything he says. That's Nation of Islam. I don't want to get into kind of nation. That's not us. That's not our podcast. But that's what they believe in. They believe in they are walking embodiments of Allah. And even the 5%ers with the arm, leg, arm, head. So I get why he says it. Yeah. My thing is, I'm never in life going to agree with that. So like, I'm always going to feel a kind of way about it, because I already feel a way with Nation anyway. So it's like, don't get me wrong, there's just some bars where it's just like, I don't agree with it, but there's something that...
Did that take away from the overall listening experience?
No, because I can separate the two, but it's, when you just know something's a bit like, do you know what I mean? Where it's just, it does take away from the experience, and I will never know, because, do you know what I mean? You don't know if it does, but there's been times with a few bars where it's just like, even Exhibit C, bruv, like, I love Exhibit C. You guys know how I feel about Jay Lec. But even Exhibit C, his most famous bar, it's like, you're mad. And that's arguably his most favorite bar, when he's like, call me Jay Lec, Hanukkah, fuck that, call me. And even that, it's like, chill out, man. Do you know what I'm like? Honestly, that's. But like, yeah, man, like, even, this is the bar where he's like, the fatwa he issued on the Shaitan was delivered painfully. Like, bruv, these are ridiculous. Like, these are bars he's spitting, bruv, and it's the day of Qiyamah. That's the day of judgment day, and he's talking about the fatwa is when you give a sentence or something. So he's like, the sentence I'm giving is like the day of judgment. And it's like, because he's using Arabic words, people don't really clock it. But, bruv, that's why I think Jay Electronica is, he's different with the pen, man. I'm not gonna lie. His penmanship is, and this album also showed me how great Jay-Z is. That's another takeaway I had from that album. Yeah. Like, I already knew how good Jay-Z is, but it's one thing going toe-to-toe against Kanye West, and Kanye West is nice, but it's another thing going toe-to-toe with Jay Elec, if you get what I mean, when it comes to bars.
Yeah. But why do we have to look at it like that? Why do we have to look at who has the better bars?
Hip-hop.
Can't we just accept both of their performances
it's hip-hop,
as separate entities, as opposed to and that's true. But I won't lie to you, man. When I first heard the album, I weren't listening to see whether Jay had better bars.
But what's the first thing you said, Pete? You was like, Jay-Z's the GOAT.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
I'm not saying
that had nothing to do with Jay.
He stood out, right? Like, he's on another level with this.
It's only with a few more listens that you realize that, and obviously we're hip hop fans. We're gonna compare rappers, and it's only with other listens that you're gonna really clock that Jay-Z for more time was mollywopping Jay.
It sounds so rude.
No, it's true. Like, if you're gonna go further, like, I don't think Jay Elec reached the heights that he's capable of. If I'm being honest.
Is that because Jay-Z was on the album? If it was Jay Electronica by himself, would you have said that?
If you take away Jay-Z's vocals and it's just Jay Elec on all these 10 songs, I would have still said the same thing.
I don't think
but I think if we take Jay-Z off it, it's a different album.
100%. Yeah. And we probably would accept it a lot more, and we probably love it a bit more, like hip hop in general. But if you compare it to his previous material, there will have been a little bit of a drop, I feel like.
I feel like,
You know,
I get what you mean. I think if you take Jay-Z away from it,
does he reach Exhibit C levels at any point?
That's
Yeah,
anomaly,
but
man.
bro, that's an unfair comparison, though, man.
That's the standard he set for himself.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't look at Jay-Z or look at flipping MF Doom and say, yo, does Doom rap as good as he did on Mad Villainy? Or does flipping, I don't know.
You did on
you
one.
Can name
you
any
did
rapper.
you did on one previous.
You
episode,
definitely
though.
did on one previous episode. You kept
What did I say?
kept on referring back to MF Doom with the album.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But the point I'm trying to make is that I sometimes I feel like it's unfair to compare particular artists when they're in this current time to their greatest work. It's unfair, man, and it's a
He was
battle.
always going to lose to Exhibit C, though. Exhibit C is a ridiculous track.
Cool.
Yeah, that's his magnum opus.
Cool.
He's not going to do better than that.
Okay, take Exhibit C out of the equation then. What about World to Perdition? What about all these?
He definitely gave me that.
He gave. Yeah,
he gave. The only difference is World to Perdition. He's up against himself. That's my difference.
He's only up against himself, I think.
Yeah.
Like, take Jay-Z out of it. Like, we know him and we love him for the bars. You know what I'm saying?
He gave me bars, though. Or do you not think he did?
No, he definitely gave us bars. I just felt a little bit. I was left on sitting on it a little bit more. I was kind of left wanting more. Maybe it's in the context of Jay-Z. Maybe it's in the context of like the overall sonics of the album as well. Like, I kind of just felt like he could have given us a little bit more. That's just me, though. I think his storytelling. The storytelling wasn't as strong. I feel like generally just a little bit. I'm not saying it was like a massive drop.
Yo, that's harsh, bro.
Yeah.
That's very, very harsh.
Disagree, but cool.
I feel like I love the way he started the album, though, man. With Farrakhan speaking and just the instrumentation behind Farrakhan's voice, it just sounded like mad triumphant. I would say it was a triumphant return, but he ain't been here, so it was just triumphant arrival sort of thing, innit? It just sounded really big, and I really enjoyed that, man. That the piano keys were dope, the violins and shit. Like, it just sounded really good, man. So even just the way he kind of opened up the album, he set the tone. Whether it was his voice that we heard first or not, like, it just set the tone for something glorious to come. That's what I felt. That's what he kind of left me feeling like was about to come when I heard the first tune.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he went into like the Ghost of Soldier Slim, I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, all right then. And like, I don't know if people know, he does that. He's got another song called The Ghost of Christopher Wallace, so it's in the same sort of vein where he's just, I guess, saluting some of his earliest influences. But yeah, when that song came on, I was like, okay, yeah, we're not here to play at all. And I appreciated the even the bar where he was like, crush the oil boy that tried to bring Wahala. Put on for my nature like I'm King T'Challa. I was like, okay, yes.
You don't like
it. We're talking now. And like, obviously, because not a lot of people understand like pidgin English, so they may not have even caught that. But yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, we're here to play. We're here to play in it. So yeah, man, like he set a tone for the first few songs on the album, man, and like the blinding was fire to me. The drums were slapping ridiculously. And I liked the beat transition. Did he produce that?
The blinding.
That was Swizz Beatz. Swizz Beatz, Hit Boy, Arab Music.
Okay.
Jay, like, I know nothing to do with that one.
Yeah, man, but even on that song, man, I kind of felt like he hears all the criticism, man. He hears it. And I do feel like he is affected by, the weight of his pen, the weight of the pressure of what Exhibit C kind of created. And then also the weight of having made his fans wait so long as well. He had a couple bars in that where, I think he addressed it and he felt it too. And I feel him, man. It's not easy, bro. Like, I'm not an artist, but I can only imagine what it's like to, like, in this day and age where everybody wants instant gratification, you put something out and then you've spent God knows how long, kind of creating it, and then people are just going to fucking pick it apart.
I mean, that's what he signed up for.
And he kind of,
like, he's done this. And I feel you, Pete. I feel you being sympathetic, but he's done this to himself. Like, he brought us to such a high level of, okay, if he can't reach the levels of Exhibit C, then that's cool. That's God level, and it's whatever. But the fact that he's a very unique case. 10 years, bro. 10 years plus, he's probably made and discarded a handful of albums in that time that we would have loved and we would have taken. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I just feel like maybe I'm less sympathetic than you, but I think he's just done this to himself, man.
He has been through some stuff as well, like I think over the years that have probably affected the release of the album.
Yeah, I mean, his mother passed away. Obviously, his personal life as far as relationships goes, that's well documented. You know, shout out the Illuminati. And you know, I imagine it's been tough for him. I imagine so.
I think he had a drug addiction as well.
Yeah, I imagine so. When he was going at Kendrick, he didn't look well.
Nah, and he was mashing up, and he was having sex with a Rothschild.
That's what I said. Anyway, no matter.
He did it.
I don't know, man. I mean, look, people go through stuff, you know? And I know people react differently, but I don't know, man. I just think, while I still really like the album, like I still think it's a really good piece of work. I don't know, man. I still think it's a bit of a cop-out, but that's just me.
I mean, what were your favorite songs on it?
Ghost of Soulja Slim, Universal Soldier, Ezekiel's Wheel. Give me... Yeah, that's it, really.
That's it.
APID.
That's it.
Wow.
I mean, those are my favorites.
All right, cool.
As far as everything else, there's not a song that I don't like. I think the weakest song might be Flux Capacitor.
Oh,
okay. Wow.
Jay-Z's got my favorite verse actually on which one was it again? On The Never Ending Story. That's
I was gonna
that's my favorite verse in the whole album.
Mo,
what my favorite songs? That's what I'm saying. I can enjoy the whole album. Like, I don't want to nitpick it, but like, Ghost of Soulja Slim was wavy to me. The Blinding, it's gonna sound like I might say the whole album. Never Ending Story was dope. Shiny Sweet Theory, because I've heard it before, I don't really include that. Universal Soldier is my favorite song of the album. Ezekiel's Will. I don't think there's a bad song on this album, I'll be honest with you. I genuinely don't think.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, I don't think there's a bad song, but if I had to pick three, if we just cut it down to three alone, I'll say Ghost of Soulja Slim, Universal Soldier, and Ezekiel's Will.
Same as me.
Yeah, if I had to narrow it down to three,
For me, Never Ending Story was that was the highlight, man. Like, it was, obviously I'm a massive Alchemist fan, so I was excited to hear Jay-Z finally rap over Alchemist. Like, the inner nerd in me was just jumping for joy.
Imagine that.
So like, I really appreciated that, and I was like looking forward to even pressing play. And when I did, I was just like, what the fuck am I listening to, bro? This is insane. And I don't know if you man know, but it's like, there's a film called The Never Ending Story. I think it was released back in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, long story short, it's about the journey to like self-discovery. It's about a young kid just trying to discover himself, in a sense. So him naming it that, and then what he was rapping about, I just thought it was perfect, man. Like, his bars, like, and that's why, like, Yemi, I feel like you're being a bit unfair, because like, his storytelling in that song was incredible, bro. Like, if you like listen to it line for line, like, this guy is really painting a picture. The imagery was like absolutely insane for me personally. And like, there's just something about his lyricism, man. Like, they just pull me into a very introspective space, you know. And I always like my rappers to be very personable. And in that song, I kind of felt like he was telling a story about himself, and I appreciated that, man. Like, he had a lot of crazy lines that just kind of made me feel like, yeah, you know what, this guy probably is aware of his potential. I think he's aware of, you know, where he's at, where he's come from to where he's at now. And I also got a sense for how important the Nation of Islam have been for even just where he's at today. So I appreciated his verse on that, man. It was, if you read it, even if you listen to it and read it, it's beautiful, bro. And then just Jay's verse was just like mad to me, bro. Like, Jay-Z's always been introspective, you know, from like fucking In My Lifetime Volume 1 on, like, you know, songs like You Must Love Me to, you know, Reason Without Regret. So he's always done that, but I don't think he's ever really touched on spirituality. That's just something I haven't really gotten from him. I feel like he's kept religion and being spiritual.
Do you think recently he's been? I don't mean to cut you off, Steve. Just a question though. Do you think recently he's been starting to open out more? Do you think it's just this album where he was just like, "Here you go"? Or do you think over the last few years?
Last few years, 444. I think he started entering another realm as far as self-discovery and really looking inwards. And I feel like this is just another branch of that. Like he was really talking in this album, bro. Like he was touching on like, you know, fucking Santeria and Shango, and like for those that don't know, like Shango's like that's so Santeria comes from the Yoruba spiritual system. A lot of Cubans practice that. And that's from, you know, the slave trade where, you know, a lot of the Africans, I guess, were dumped in Cuba. So like a lot of what he was saying was just resonating because I study a lot of it as well. It's quite interesting to me. So when he mentioned Shango, I was like, wait, what?
What do you know about Shango?
You get what I'm saying? So like, and Shango's like, he's in the Yoruba like spiritual system, he's known as the god of thunder. So like when he was barring, he was like, yo, like I'm a page turner, sage burner, Santeria, Shango, December baby, my Orishas. I was just like, okay, yeah, like you're talking, bro. And yeah, man, he was just barring to me, man. It was just nice to hear. And like, not only is he like diving into, you know, how he feels spiritually, I guess there were also elements about us as a people and how, you know, we should deep it, man. Like he had a bar where he was like, listen, man, we were born perfect. Fuck all the BS. Everybody we want to be us, you just got to see it. And he just had bars like that throughout that one verse.
Like, inshallah, after so far, I did.
Yeah. So I was just like, that whole verse just captivated me, man. The whole verse, bro. It was just like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that was, for me, that was like the highlight of the whole album.
No, I agree. That was definitely my favorite verse in the album, like hands down. Yeah. Jay-Z kind of took it to a realm. Because I don't think, like you said, I've never heard him dedicate a whole verse about religion before. Like he's had bars where he's like, I think, what did he say before? He's like, the spirit shit don't work. It's shut. Sorry, before anyway, back in there. And I thought, But this one, where he's like, I can't tell how white that blue-eyed version is make-believe stuff. She throw me in that house. You deliver us from evil, this heathen. I say to Miss Tina, she'll sneeze at the sun. Bruv, like,
her floating reflex. Yo, fuck off, bruv.
You know what's, man? I've never once gone Rap Genius and quoted bars on this podcast. But I want to do it for this verse. Like, this verse was just different to me, man. I'm not gonna lie, when I heard it, I was just like, Jay-Z's in a different realm.
And that bar particularly, that one where he's like, I can't
make believe stuff. She'll throw me at the house.
Yo, and then when he was like, I said to Miss Tina, she'll sneeze at sun. Bro. Do you know what a photic reflex is?
What is a photic reflex?
Man. I think it's something like when you're allergic to sunlight. So there's some, your body will react to it if you are standing in the line of a sun in which you can't deal with it. There will be an immediate reaction. So he's basically saying there, where like, if he tries to tell Miss Tina, who I'm assuming is Beyonce's mum, that this blue-eyed Jesus that you man are serving ain't it. Like her automatic reaction will be to go off. Like, what are you talking about? Da, 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 da. And that's that metaphoric stuff that we love Jay for. So that's why when people were like, you know what, like Jay kicked Jay Electronica around, like, I'm not gonna say it because it's disrespectful, but you can clearly see the difference between, you know, the elites, the greats, and being a very good MC.
Yeah,
there's a clear difference. And Jay used a lot of his experience on this album, man. He was just flowing.
I think he's getting better.
If he's getting better, then but that's different.
50 years old, bro.
If Jay-Z can you imagine? Jay-Z getting better is crazy, bro. Because this is one of my favorite verses from Jay-Z ever.
Bro, I might have to agree with you there too, bro.
What? 25 years in?
More than that, bro. This guy's he was rapping with Jazzo.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying Reasonable Doubt. I'm just saying from the first albums onwards was like 95, 96. Okay. So even just, but yeah, Jazzo times. But like, if we're 25, 30 years in, and this guy's giving me, it's definitely my top 5 verse. It might be, don't get me wrong, it might be Prison of the Moment. But this is right now.
I don't know where I rank it.
Yeah, right now though, it's one of my favorite verses of Jay-Z ever. Like, this gave me different. This got wheeled up a double amount of times.
I'm telling you, bro. I still play it, man. That's probably the number one song on the album that I really.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite song on the album.
Just purely because of not to say Jay Electronica wasn't like, he was painting poetry and painting crazy pictures in his verse, but Jay's verse just, I don't know, elevated. It was just different. But yeah, so that song was just amazing to me. Yeah, I've been hearing like somebody said that they can hear a bit of Matt Hommy's influence on Jay-Z. But you know what's funny? Because I listened to the album again today, and like on Universal Soldier, if you listen to Matt Hommy, he's got a delivery where he'll say a line, then he'll say a word that rhymes with the last word of that line, then he will say another word that rhymes with that word too. And I could hear Jay did that, bro. So I'm not gonna say Matt Hommy influenced him, but I know that Matt Hommy has spent some time with Jay. I could definitely hear what people are talking about.
Well, as the president of the Matt Hommy fan club, you would know a lot more than me. So I'm gonna hold you to that.
I'm just saying.
Hey, look, if that's the case, then shout out Matt Hommy. Look, it just shows that Jay's got his head in the game and he's got his finger on the pulse as far as what's popping, like lyrically and flow-wise these days.
That's a fact.
Overall, then, individually, do you guys feel like the album lived up to the hype?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lived up to the hype in terms of I got what I wanted, but it didn't live up to the hype in terms of I didn't hear enough Jay Elec, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like it lived up to the hype to where it's a dope album. So it lived up to the hype of where the album's amazing. The album's fucking amazing, but it didn't live up to the hype of where I thought I was gonna hear just Jay Elec.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. The irony is like of what you've just said, Mo, because I was feeling like I wanted more Jay Elec on his own as well. The one song that he had by himself, "Fruits of the Spirit," I needed the Jay-Z verse from him.
You're a bastard. You're absolute. Can I ask you that question?
But I get that though, because up until that point, you get lots and lots of Jay. So it's kind of weird to hear Jay Elec by himself.
It's not even that, bro. I'm big up No ID, man, but Jay-Z would have floated.
He would have from a beat perspective.
Floated. Yeah.
Okay.
He would have floated all over that. So yeah, I wanted the Jay-Z verse on
that. Does this album make you want a Jay-Z album?
Nah, because of how much music I consume, I can wait.
I'm good as well.
Okay.
And I think when it comes to the question of whether it lived up to the hype, it's a tricky one because there's so much Jay-Z. Like I think it's I can't say yes or no because I don't really think we know what Jay Elec can do by himself. That's why I feel like I can't really answer that question. As far as a piece of music, I was satisfied, but generally, yeah, still a bit open-ended for me.
Do you think this is it for Jay Elec and we're not going to have an album front till 2031?
No. I think now.
No, there's another album. There's 100%.
I think now that he's got an album out, it's a lot more likely that we'll get one sooner.
You don't think the feedback put him off?
Nah, I don't think so.
For the most part, it's been
good. Don't get me wrong, but like, I think the most disrespectful comment I saw was Joe Budden. I don't know if you not saw what he tweeted, and he's like,
he said he hated you.
Yeah, but then he was like, I'm gonna take your verses off and treat it as a Jay-Z mixtape.
Didn't he say that on the pod as well?
I don't know if he said it on the pod. I saw it on Twitter. But taking someone's verses off their album and then saying I'm gonna make it a Jay-Z mixtape is
you have to
top 5 disrespectful comments.
Cool, but you have to understand Joe Budden has a different brain to us. So he probably thinks like you, Mo, but even more so that Jay-Z molly whopped the fuck out of Jay Elec.
Yeah, true.
So we don't have Joe Budden's brain. So he's probably thinking what we're thinking times a million.
And he must probably maybe put Jay Electronica on a pedestal that we will never understand.
Exactly, because he knows he's an alien MC, especially from one MC who's great to an alien MC. That's there's going to be another level of expectation. So yeah. I kind of feel it. Joe Budden's just being Joe Budden, isn't it? He's harsh. He said that sort of thing about anyone. He said the same thing about Sway Lee. He said he hated that tune.
When he said 2 packs of ass.
Exactly. So I'm not too surprised. I think Jay Elec maybe hasn't responded well to the criticism.
That's the only people like. That's why I'm worried about would he drop another album.
Yeah, with Joe Budden, I don't think he responded well because he said I've never heard your albums, but there's a video from years ago of them hanging out. So What do we believe here?
Listen, man. What did Erica Badu say? I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. Like, bro, it's inevitable, man. He's allowed to.
Peter, I got a question for you.
100.
You know what I'm saying it's not really a surprise
Peter,
either.
100.
What's your favorite Prince song? Raspberry Beret or Sometimes It Snows in April?
What's wrong with you, man? And I caught that bar today as well.
Personally, I'm a Raspberry Beret guy.
No, it's got to be Raspberry Beret. I haven't heard the other one.
I won't lie to you, I haven't heard either one.
If you listen to Sometimes It Snows in April,
I'll listen to it today. I heard it's an introspective song.
I'll
check it out. But yeah, man, that's the only thing I would say. Like, it gave me what I wanted, but it didn't give me what I wanted at the same time. It's a very tricky one.
Do you guys consider it a solo album?
Hell no. People were calling it Watch the Throne 2.
Yo.
If that's Watch the Throne 2, then
they
boy.
need to stop.
Is this better than Watch the Throne? It's not better than Watch the Throne.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Hell no.
Don't do Jay Electronica like that, man.
I'm not doing Jay Electronica anything. Hell no.
But I don't think you can even compare them, man. They're different albums, man.
One is about extravagance and black excellence and shit, and the other is, you know, what it is.
Allah.
It's completely different. It's Allah.
It's Allah. Do you know what's mad? I don't know if you ever checked the writers on the album, but you know he's got Allah as a writer on every single track.
Yeah,
he's just got Allah as a writer. This guy's mad.
One sec. That's because I think his government name now is Allah.
Don't do that.
Well, his Wikipedia page says his name is El Padaro F Electronica Allah.
That's what I'm saying, but don't call yourself anyway. Let me chill out, fam.
Yeah, but bro, I think he's also from that.
Yeah, no, he's the from that school of thought.
Yeah, he was a 5%er at one point. So, I think the Clarence 13X, they all called him Allah as well, the father. So it's not.
Yeah,
really
but I think he's still. Some of his bars still sprinkle 5%er. Like there's a lot of his bars. The majority of his bars are more 5% than Nation. If you get Jay-Z says they're 5%.
Some people even questioning whether. A lot of people questioning whether
Jay-Z wears. I don't know if you lot. Jay-Z has been wearing a 5% chain for a decade now. That's what I'm saying. But Jay-Z, okay, fair, I didn't know that. But what I'm saying, even at the Breakfast Club, Jay-Z I think had a 5% chain on it. So it's not like Jay-Z's new to this. That's what I'm saying. So
no, he's not.
Like, Jay-Z's been. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's been a 5%er, but I'm just saying he's not. The bars I heard from Jay-Z didn't exactly shock me. It was great bars. His verse was amazing, but I wouldn't say I was like, oh my. It's just he's never done it.
All right, I've got a question for you, man. If he releases Act 2 after Exhibit C, is it better than the album we got now?
I mean, I can't answer that because I don't know what it's. I mean, are you talking about in relation to the track list?
No, but what do you think it would be?
If
better
you say that again, you need to word that question again, sorry.
Say he releases Act 2 right after Exhibit C. Do you imagine it being better than the album?
100%. 100%. Because he's coming off the heat of Exhibit C. I think he's got a little bit more fire in his belly.
He's at the peak of his powers.
He's at the peak of his powers. I think it's 100%.
Yeah, I think.
And there's nowhere near as much Jay-Z.
Okay. And we'll be more receptive towards it anyway.
Yeah, I think you can say that for any artist, really. Like if an artist is gonna drop their biggest single and then follow up with an album, a lyrical miracle person, then I would like to think that it would be pretty good. Because creative juices and all that. So yeah, I would have thought it would have been a lot better. If this was a second album, if he had dropped this as a second album, I would not be mad at all.
Yeah, I think nobody would.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm mad. I'm just more like, oh fuck.
You know what I mean? Though.
Yeah, I agree because if this was a second album, people be lauding that. People be like, oh my days. It's just when we've never seen an artist. I can't think of another artist that made us wait this long.
But like Jay-Z on every song or not, man. This is still a fucking good album.
This album's amazing.
It's a good album. It's a good album, 100%. It's a really good album.
See, Yemi, I don't like.
Bruv, it's the way he said it's a good album. Bruv, add some sauce, add some vinegar.
No. No, you're adding you two are adding enough sauce for this conversation.
Bruv, like, I'm not gonna like the way. No, yeah, you're right. We definitely gassed it.
Yeah, I don't need to.
I still stand by what I said though. Like he done
Me
it.
too. I don't change the thing.
Listen, look, I really enjoyed it. Initially, I thought it was amazing. Now that I've had time to sit with it, I think it's really good.
Okay.
Was that enough sauce for you?
Yeah.
And that's okay. It can be really good. Like, not every album has to be amazing.
Can I just say, Peter's first message about the album was at 6:57 in the morning.
Was it?
Yeah, I just checked. Because I'm looking at it here. Because I typed it.
Off.
And then
What did I
can't
say?
say all of it. It's too much, bro. But you were just like, Muhammad, it's here. The day has come. I'm in possession of the Jay Electronica album.
Look at this guy.
Jigga is on 8 of the 10 songs. And you're like, fam, I've waited 10 years. Fam, I'm 3 tracks in. I ain't even done yet, but this guy done it. He done did it. The guard done did it. And you're like, he's floating so differently. And you're like, lads, this shit is sounding so good. I don't know what to do with myself. And then he's like,
but you know what's so mad?
Like,
at that point, yeah,
I
was getting ready.
You know, he was like, quickly, that's perfect. Because he was like, how am I gonna get ready for work,
bro? Literally, man, I was just sitting in my towel. I was getting ready for iron, and I was like, I'm not.
And then so then he was like, fam, you don't understand how long I've been waiting for. And then I joined the chat. I was like, I'm about to press play. This is a moment in time. I can't believe I'm about to press play.
Look at these. Look, audience. Look at how these men are acting.
And then I was like, yo, Farrakhan opened the album. And then you're like, and then you was like, it's a classic from then. I don't want to get into it too much. It was like, I was like, Farrakhan opened the album. Then you replied, it was a classic from then. And I was like, oh my God, this is how Jay Electronica wants to start. Followed up by Hove. And I was like, oh my God, Jay Electronica really started his verse like that. We went.
Yeah, you too.
We were excited.
Yeah, I was like, bro, he's floating. And he was like, he's from outer space.
Yeah, man. I still stand by all of that, man. His penmanship is still like, it's ridiculous. It really is, man. If you and sometimes it's very difficult to really just take it all in as well, because he's saying so much. But his penmanship is
Jay Electronica or
Jay-Z? Special. It is special.
Yeah, this.
I mean, Jay-Z don't use a pen, but him too.
Listen, Jay I
was talking about Jay
is not for everybody. The album is not for everybody. You have to really commit your mental to it. Even you may even have to convert to really understand. But you know, that is what it is.
Can I just make a quick comment?
Yes.
There's certain people's feedback I don't want to hear about this album. No, I'm not even in a fuckery way. But like
who?
I don't want to say it, but
I know who you're talking about. I was about to mention him as well.
There's certain people. Shout out to Rosenberg. I don't want to hear your opinion on this. I don't want to hear your voice, bruv. Like this. Shut up. Like, what verse was it that Rosenberg got upset? Was you about to mention him, Yemi?
Yeah, the one about the synagogue of Satan.
Yeah, like, okay, that comes from the Bible, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
But he's been saying synagogue of Satan for like 10 years.
That's a scripture from somewhere. I don't know where it's from. But that's a scripture. Yeah. So it's like, I don't think Jay-Z said it. And it's like, yo, he's getting upset. But like, if there's one album, and listen, I don't know if there's one album where if you're not black, you should just kind of be quiet. I think this is that album. If there's one album in this world, if you're not black, I think you should just kind of keep your opinions to yourself. This is that album.
Well, let me.
Because why do you? This has got nothing to do with them. This is all about black empowerment, about nation. You won't relate to half of the stuff they're rapping about.
Well, let me read out.
Do you get what I mean?
Let me read out Rosenberg's response to that line. He said, "Not feeling this bar from Jay Electronica, and I know I'm not the only person who felt a way about it. As a Jew, it puts me in a bad position. I could ignore the fact that I instantly felt a pang of discomfort and offense and basically sell out my culture, or I can be accused of being the Jewish media hating on this man. But that's how I felt. The line offended me. It's been so long since hip-hop has done that to me. It used to be commonplace for songs to have lines that were iffy and made me feel like, damn, this is hard as hate Jews? Not in a minute. So thanks for throwing it back, Jay." I
mean, bro, he's entitled to feel how he feels, isn't it? To be honest, I think because he is Jewish, he will feel that way. Anybody that identifies as being Jewish today will take offense to that, and that's fine. I don't think he's wrong to take offense.
I don't think he's wrong to get offended, by the way. I'm just saying I don't think he should.
You know what it is?
But I can't say that to him as well. I can't tell him don't get offended, I guess.
You know what it is? If it was someone that we actually liked and we didn't think was a guest, it'd probably be like a more valid thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Because Rosenberg is Rosenberg and he's a bit of a waste man. It's also a bit like, shut the fuck up.
Did he also get upset about when Jay Electronica said Satan struck Palestine with yet another mortar?
I don't.
I think he mentioned it. Like, he was like,
I know he had that bar, but I don't know if Peter
Okay,
Rosenberg
maybe I'm bugging. I felt
was
like he maybe
upset.
said that. If he never made my mistake, but I feel like he might have made a comment, which, I mean, I kind of agree with that, but so I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, what?
Feel you.
Feel you. So, guys, at the end of it all, where does all this leave Jay Electronica now? What do we think his next steps are? Where has his ranking in the game, was his position in the game been enhanced in any way? What do we think this leaves him?
He still sits in the same place for me. Jay Electronica's been. He's one of. I want to say, yeah, he's a great rapper, but he's one of the nicest I've heard. It's just, I feel like his ranking hasn't changed until I get a solo album. Because I've always said it, if he gives me a solo album, I'll rank him somewhere. But until I don't count this as a solo album, so it's only so much that this could do for him. But it doesn't change my mindset. It doesn't really do anything for Jay Electronica with me personally. He's a nice rapper. He's always been one of the nicest I've heard. That doesn't change anything if you get what I mean. So I don't know what it does for him, to be honest with you.
For me, I think it kind of distinguishes. For me, it's made me look at how I rank rappers and even how I judge them. I think somebody like a Jay Electronica who has all the talent in the world but just hasn't had the output. I think there is now a certain, and it's always been there for me, but I think this has just re-emphasized it. I think there's now like a certain standard that you have to get to before I start placing you in certain places. So to answer the question, nothing really changed for me for Jay, as far as Jay Electronica. Like he's still a great rapper, incredible penmanship, and that's all it is. I look forward to when he releases another album.
What about for you?
That's it. You know, it doesn't do anything. He's not as mysterious, I guess. There's not that feeling of, I wonder what a Jay Elec album would sound like. Actually, no, there still is. But yeah, I kind of just look forward to the next one. I feel like the next one has to be a solo one now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think this changes anything. I think he obviously still a phenomenal MC. And, you know, the mystique has kind of come down a little bit because now we do have a quote-unquote project from him. It does increase expectation for a solo album, I guess. So I guess the expectation is still there, but it's in a different shape now. Or maybe even not, because if he's dropping not a solo project and we've yet to hear a solo project from him, maybe the pressure's still there. I don't know. But yeah, I think he's still in the same position. He's still underwater or like above the clouds with all the other aliens. And, you know, when he does come back, because it will be a when and not if, I think, we'll be here waiting for him.
I mean, I agree.
Facts.
I just hope that it's sooner rather than later.
Well, as long as it's not another 10 years.
But he's a weird guy, bruv. He might do that, man.
He might.
Yeah,
and
he might.
And this will start. And this will start all over again for him. I feel like.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think he's kind of got that monkey off his back. I feel like the anxiety of, oh my God, if I release now, I'm like, it may not be like, you know, accepted. I think that has kind of, hopefully it's gone for him. I think now he's kind of done the first one. There's no reason. I mean, I'll say there's no reason, but I would hope that there's no reason for him to maybe wait as long. But we'll see what happens. How did you, man, feel about the production overall? I've heard a lot of there's been a lot of criticism. A lot of people feel like JLX.
I mean, I'd rather have had. It feels up to me. You said it already, but I'd rather have had, instead of him producing 5 songs, give me 5 Just Blaze songs. And I feel like he owed that to Just Blaze, number one. But the production, it sounded dated, but it fitted him at the same time. If you get what I mean. A little bit. I can't remember what song. There was 1 or 2 songs where it's like it's not. It sounds.
I initially said it sounded like it's in 2010.
I would have gone that one, man.
But that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, but it fits Jay Electronica. It fits who he is.
Exactly.
But like, I think I could have done with more. I definitely could have done with another Alchemist track. At least one, because that's Alchemist is an alien, bro. Like,
100%.
Like Alchemist isn't. He's an alien. Like,
he's been an alien though. That's the thing. But I feel like this is this kind of resurgence since, like, I think there's a particular type of style of rapper that has become very popular and that his production really suits. You guys always hear me talk about him because you know how much I love him, but like, you know, the style of a Rock Marciano or like a West Side Gun or like a fucking Action Bronson, them boys coming through, I think allowed for someone like an Alchemist to excel. Not to say that he wasn't before, but his style has definitely shifted to compared to when he was making songs like We Gonna Make It for Jadakiss, or the songs that he was making for like Mobb Deep. I think he might have made Keep It Thorough for Prodigy, if I'm not mistaken.
so.
But
I think so.
you could definitely see like there's a different type of production style that he's coming with nowadays. And yeah, he's
Where
just
does he rank for
excelling,
you?
man.
And Yemi.
What, Alchemist?
Because
He's
you
in my
said
top
he's.
10, for sure.
I think when the album dropped, I think you said you might have been in more prison than more, but I think he said he's in your top.
I said he was working his way into my top 5.
I think
Sorry,
when all is said and done, if he carries on the way he's going, he'll easily be in my top 10. I think my top 5 is pretty much cemented. So I think the best he could do is top 10. But he's definitely one of my favorite producers right now, without a doubt. And Jay Electronica as the beat maker, I liked his beats better than Cassidy's.
Same.
What did you say?
Better than Cassidy's. Bro, I'm saying, man.
I'm telling you, villain.
Listen. At the end of the day, Ghost of Soulja Slim was a Jay Electronica beat. Killed it. Shiny Suit Theory was cool. Universal Soldier, killed it. Flux Capacitor, good beat. And Ezekiel's Will, killed it. So
I'm surprised the Dream didn't do one of them. But
no, he was featured in Ezekiel's Will. He didn't produce nothing.
I thought the Dream produced it.
No. So track 1, Jay Electronica.
I feel like Jay Electronica was a bit offbeat on Flux Capacitor, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been that song. I found that he couldn't quite catch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that
it
was
was definitely me as well. And he wasn't necessarily rhyming words either. So that made it stick out a little bit more.
Yeah. But I genuinely enjoy his production. He produced a song for Nas called Queens Get the Money on the Untitled album, and I really enjoyed it. And his style of production, what he gave me on this album, is not that surprising compared to what he's made for himself in the past. Even on Act 1, Eternal Sunshine, it's very stripped. I think on this album, he tried a bit more, a different style, but I think it's still quite bare though. So it's not that surprising.
Yeah. Other than Ghost of Soulja Slim, which, there's a lot going on in that song, but I think Ezekiel's Will, very, very bare. Even Shiny Suit Theory is very bare as well. I think he's maybe not mastered, but he's good at that. And yeah, obviously when you rank up against all the others, like Alchemist, No ID, and all that stuff, they're vets in that. So he has a long way to go. But generally, it's cool. I think it's better than better than J. Cole.
Oh, you know why you're mad? That's why you're mad. Because I was about to ask, who's a better producer, J. Cole or Jay Electronica?
I'm taking Jay Electronica's production.
I'm taking
KOD, J. Cole.
Are we going to do that then?
Yeah, we have to.
All right, cool. Okay, then it's a fairer fight. I think generally, from what I've heard of Jay Electronica, I prefer Jay Electronica, but KOD, J. Cole, yeah, he's hitting on a lot of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But listening to Jay Electronic's production though, it just kind of reaffirms that Jay Dilla's got a lot of kids, man.
Yeah.
Because the way Jay Electronica programs his drums is very sloppy, and Jay Dilla is infamous for that. So yeah, it just reaffirmed that for me, man.
Right. The scientific term is non-quantized.
Oh,
yeah, I know. Yeah, Umi. Umi. Yeah,
what is it?
Non-quantized. I learned that from Madlib.
Non-quantized. So first you want to dig deep and now quantized. All right.
Yeah, I learned that from Madlib. Shout out Madlib.
Shout out to Madlib.
Also, as a quick one, Alchemist don't want no smoke with Madlib when it comes to beat battling.
I feel he's right.
I feel him too.
But even things like that just make me rate Alchemist even more because he's humble and he knows.
What, has he already said this?
The deal.
What, he said I don't want no smoke. Man, salute to you for knowing your audience, bro. Salute to you.
Do you feel me? And I appreciate that. But even if they did, I don't think he gets smoked.
He doesn't get smoked.
He loses the respectful manner.
I love Madlib. I don't think he smokes out.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I think he just said that because of how
he will get a gentleman's sweep. That's a basketball term when you beat 4-1.
Yeah, it'll be for sure.
But yeah, man, I'm not mad at the album. It's just if it was food, I'm like 3/4 full.
I will say though, listen, I don't want to ever talk again about who the greatest rapper is. I'm done. I don't ever want to talk about it again, and I won't. I will not partake. I swear to you, if we go out and somebody tries to initiate a hip hop debate and they want to know, who's the GOAT? Listen, keep me out of it. I'm done.
I get it. All right.
My personal favorite rapper of all time is Black Thought, but the greatest rapper without a shadow of a doubt, is Jay-Z.
I don't think it is a conversation anymore.
No,
that's because people say that white boy, innit?
No, not even just generally though. There's a lot of people that still take Nas.
Actually, yeah, someone's in this conversation that does
they're still gonna put.
I still am. So
Yemi till this day, even after what you just heard, even after you said Jay-Z's getting better 25 years in.
It's because if we're being real, like it's not just the lyricism that makes Jay-Z the greatest. Like if we're being real, and Nas versus Jay lyric for lyric, then we know that Nas is the better MC. Precisely, and that's why I say Jay's the greatest. But when you're talking to someone like Yem, who is he's a Nas disciple, there's no telling Yemi that Jay's the greatest. You feel me? So and I get it, but I just personally will not partake.
I think once you get to 25, 30 years in, and you're still
wait. Hold on. I'm gonna get this off. So, if I'm a Nas disciple, what does that make you, man? Hov's disciples?
Okay.
Okay.
No. You're not deep in it. You're not deep in it. Hov's disciples.
Oh, I see what you done there.
What?
I see what you done there. Don DeMarco. I see what you done
there. Yeah. Obviously, it didn't hit too hard.
Bars.
Hey, man, I'm good. I'm good every once in a while, you know.
Bars. But yeah,
man,
I'm happy.
Look, you man can have your greatest. I'll have mine. That's it.
That's all it is. You might be wrong, but that's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's subjective, but it's cool.
What about people that say Eminem?
It will always be subjective. Yeah. It will always be subjective. What
about people that say Eminem? Is that subjective or is that wrong?
Watch your mouth, bro.
That's not wrong.
That's subjective.
I feel like some answers are just wrong. There are some opinions
and this is why people hate rap fans.
No, like if I say to you today, for example, if I say, Cassidy's one of the nicest,
that's subjective too.
If I say Cassidy's top 5 of all time, that's just wrong.
Yeah, that's
if I say Eminem's above Jay-Z and Nas, that's wrong.
So you're saying a rap opinion can be wrong?
Yes.
Like a personal preference can be wrong?
Yes.
You told that to the person, didn't
If I say right now, Torre Andre Flo's the best striker I've seen.
How do you measure that, though?
By music, by bars, by body of work.
But people have different ears. But
it's still all subjective. It's still subjective.
They're different one ear.
Nah, I don't think you can say that.
Mohammed, it's still subjective. And you man probably aren't going to believe what I'm about to say yet, but like, if we're talking lyrically, Eminem is better than
100%.
So it's still very subjective.
I just think some answers 100%. Right.
Look, even if you don't like the subject matter,
and I agree with that.
If you don't like the subject matter, Eminem lyrically, like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, lyrically, he was nice.
That's all I'm saying.
But when I was in year 6, I've finished school, I've gone college, I've gone uni, and I've had 4 years of change.
I feel you. But to some people, he's done enough. You can't argue with those people.
If you give me,
you can.
If you give me 2 seasons, you're not talking to a Messi who's giving me 15.
I hear that.
That's what I'm saying. At the same time, Darren Bent bangs for 2 years, right? Henri bangs for 8.
Cool.
Listen, James Beattie.
What? You remember Andy Johnson? I'm saying shout out. Yo, Andy Johnson had a couple seasons at Crystal Palace before he went Everton. That's what
he had one season. No.
Remember
the Rice was sell.
People were sleeping.
The Rice was sell was the embodiment of average.
All I'm saying is you can give me 5 years. If you give me 17 years bad and 5 years good,
But it depends, man. It depends. What? It depends on who you're asking.
That's fair. No, don't get me wrong. Everyone's right to an opinion. I'm just saying I feel like some opinions are just a bit more like, I don't understand.
Yeah, they're right. I think as the older I get, we're just
like I'm not going to entertain
get involved in
another conversation over Jay-Z and M. I'm just not going to do it.
Who is still having that conversation?
Eminem fans.
Yeah, we don't really converse with those.
I mean, I do.
But yeah, cool. So when all is said and done, we all really enjoyed a written testimony. We obviously hope for more from Jay Elec in the future. But until then, we're gonna sit on what is his first project, I guess, and enjoy it. Innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
He'll give me. He will drop a dope project, hopefully, within the next decade.
I'll probably say like he'll drop another project within the next 2 years, I think.
Do you think he'll lose a bit of interest?
100%.
Yeah.
Because I think like you said, he's listening to the criticism. I think he'll want to drop an album that it's just him. Hopefully,
to
remove all doubt.
I think he's the kind of guy that hopefully, but at the same time, he strikes me as someone that's like, just be happy I gave you lot something.
Yeah.
You just be like.
But then look, we were waiting for 10 years, and then one day he decided he wanted to drop something. So maybe that will change.
I mean, yeah, man, you're right, bruv. Like, I'm happy with it, bruv. And bruv, I can't complain, man. I'm a massive Jay Electronica fan. So I'm content. I'll just rather it be him. So
same.
We'll see where it goes from here.
100%.
It doesn't change his standard on anything anyway.
No, it doesn't. If anything, it just leaves us wanting more.
Yeah, which is disappointing because I've always said if he gives me one album, I'll push him higher in my list. But he ain't moved.
Nope.
He's unranked. He's
caught between the rock and a hard place.
I see what you done there. That's not skipping past me.
Thank you.
I like that one. Shout out to RLC.
Just the rock. No, that's the way he says
that
it.
Was nasty, bro. That was nasty.
No, don't do that. That's the way he says it in
the
Universal Soldier.
Nah, this guy lost decibels.
That's the way he says it. That's the way he says it in Universal Soldier.
This guy says, it's the rock.
It's the rock. I was like, what? Where did this go? So yeah, if there's nothing else from the guys about the album, I think we're gonna end it there. So obviously this was a first experiment into how recording may be for the next foreseeable. So hopefully we've done all right, done it justice. And yeah, thank you to everybody tuning in self-isolation and in quarantine. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Salutations.
Stay safe. Stay at home if you can. If you must go out for your like daily exercise and stuff, that's cool. But anything more than that, you're taking the piss. And yeah, everyone, just be well, man. Just be well. Try to be, man.
And don't put other people in harm's way at your house, bro. Just sit at home, man.
Yeah, and don't cough at people either, you forbidding greats.
And don't be a dickhead in life, bro. Don't be a prick.
I was watching, I think I might have been watching some sort of Channel 4 program where they had this video recording of somebody going around like licking people's door handles and stuff.
You deserve life in jail.
Especially in a time like this.
You deserve life, bruv. I don't want to hear no banter. You deserve to be.
I don't even know about that, man. I just think these people need to be rushed by like.
Just come to the hood, innit? Just come to Tottenham and get jumping.
No, you know what it is? We should teleport them to Turnpike Lane, and then let them handle them.
They wouldn't make it. Yeah, they'll. Yeah, I agree. TPL.
Is it Turnpike Lane?
Anyway, guys, thank you for coming to this episode of Rhymes.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, we ain't trying to hear all that.
It's been a
big up.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Thank you again for tuning in. And yeah, take care, and we'll see you very, very soon. Well, not see you, but you got the gist. And yeah,
salute you, man.
Take care. I ain't got no sayings. Just stay safe.
God bless.
And yeah, we'll be out.